Alright guys, so I asked you to try these three questions, and this is what I got for them. Like I factored out the numerator in number 5, I got x plus 2, x minus 2. Those x minus 2's cancel, so that means that that's a point of discontinuity where those two cancel, so I got x to be 2 for this one. There is no horizontal asymptote for that one. When I look at this next one, I factored it out. I got x minus 1, and then I got x squared times x minus 1. Those x minus 1's cancel, so that allows me the chance to find out what the point of discontinuity is. And then I got x squared to be 0. That means that x equals 0 is going to be your vertical asymptote. When I look at this last one, I factored out 3x squared minus 14x plus 8. I got 3x minus 2 times x minus 4. In the denominator, I got x minus 4x plus 1. Because those two x minus 4's cancel, that's why I ended up with a point of discontinuity, and that's at x equals 4. And then x plus 1 is in the denominator, so I can say that that's going towards my vertical asymptote. And when I set x plus 1 equal to 0, I should get x to be negative 1. Okay, so that's just stuff to kind of keep in mind for that. All right, so let us look at horizontal asymptotes and what they are. So I know that horizontal line is horizontal asymptote is a horizontal line that the graph approaches but doesn't cross. And one of the big things that we're going to look at with this is first, we want to try to identify what the degree of the numerator and the denominator is. So we'll have like 3 different situations. So we could have one situation in which the numerator is equal to the degree of the denominator. Then what I know is that my horizontal asymptote is going to be the same value as what my leading coefficient of my numerator is divided by the leading coefficient of my denominator. Now, if that doesn't happen, like I could also have the situation in which my leading coefficient could be less than the degree of the denominator. In that case, the horizontal asymptote is going to be at y equals 0. Now, if the degree of the numerator is greater than the degree of the denominator, then I know that the horizontal asymptote doesn't exist. There is none, and it's going to be an oblique asymptote. All right, so let's look at a couple situations in which we're trying to determine where the horizontal asymptote is, if they have one. All right, so we're looking at the similar question that we started off the class or the first video with. We're looking at f of x equals x plus 1 divided by x minus 5. All right, so let's look at the degree of the numerator. I know that that's 1. The degree of the denominator, and that's, I'm just using dd, okay? dn dt. In this case is also 1. So which of these situations am I going through? Well, in this case, it looks like I am looking at situation 2, in which my numerator is equal to the degree of my denominator. So, what is the leading coefficient of my numerator and the leading coefficient of my denominator? Well, the leading coefficient of my numerator is 1 because that's what's in front of x. Now, what's in front of x in the bottom is 1. So in this case, my horizontal asymptote is going to be y equals 1 over 1. So in that case, it's going to be 1. That's my horizontal asymptote. Okay? Well, let's look at another situation. Let's look at this one, in which, all right, my degree of my numerator is still 1, because that's what the power is. What is the power of x? It's also 1. So the degree of my denominator is 1. Well, in this situation, we're also looking at situation 2, so I need to find out what the leading coefficient of my numerator is, and that is 3. And then the leading coefficient of my denominator is 1. So, what is my horizontal going to be? My horizontal asymptote is going to be the leading coefficient of the numerator, which is 3, divided by 1. So, in this case, my horizontal asymptote is going to be y equals 3. Let's look at a couple other ones. So in this case, I have x squared minus 2x minus 15, and that's going to be divided by x plus 3. So the degree of my numerator is 2. That is the highest power. Okay? The degree of my numerator. The degree of my denominator is going to be 1. Okay? So in this situation, it looks like the numerator is greater than the denominator. And what did we say about that? It has no horizontal asymptote. So in this case, it has no horizontal asymptote in this case. No horizontal asymptotes in this case. We'll look at one more. All right, so in this case, we look at the degree of the numerator. The highest power is 1. The degree of my denominator is 2. So in this situation, we are looking at the fact that the degree of the numerator is smaller than that of the denominator. That's situation 3. In this case, my horizontal asymptote is going to be at y equals 0. I'm going to ask you guys to look at this next situation, these 3, and in the next video I'm going to go over them, and we will also be talking about oblique asymptotes.